Hello students, my name is Mona Basin. Today we'll study another very important chapter in your course, that is Ranga's marriage. We will be doing the explanation of the entire chapter, the theme of the chapter and the characters of the chapter. It is written by Masti Venkatesh Iyengar. Now there are four major characters in this particular story. First is Ranga. He is a boy who used to stay in a small village called Hosahalli, which is a part of Mysore district in Karnataka. Then this is a girl called Ratna. Ranga finally gets married to Ratna. Ratna is an 11-year-old girl and she is Ramarao's niece. Now Ramarao is one of the inhabitants of the village Hosahalli and she is the niece of Ramarao. Then comes the narrator. He is the main protagonist of the story. He is the one who narrates the entire story. His name is Shama. Now there are two Shamas in this particular chapter. First is the Shama who is a narrator. Second is Shama who turns out to be Ranga and Ratna's son. He's a 3-year-old boy who once Ranga and Ratna get married, then they name their son as Shama. The next person who is another important part of the story is the Shastri. Shastri is the priest who is used to stay in the village Hosahalli. Now, what is the theme of the story? The story is written by Venkatesh Iyengar. It revolves around a boy named Ranga. Now, Ranga is the son of an accountant who got the opportunity to go out of his village to study. Now, it is a time of those times when this story is written during those times when people hardly used to go out of study. And Ranga was the first person who went out of study to Bangalore. He came back after 6 months of studying English, and people were really surprised to see it because hardly people used to go out. The narrator Shama takes you through a journey where he changes Ranga's perception about marriage, his views about marriage, how he staged his union with Ratna, who is Ramarao's niece, with the help of a Shastri, whom I told you before is a priest who used to stay in the same village, and what role English has played in this village. The entire story revolves around the funny instances and references, for the narrator has made sure the reader's mind stays occupied with the story. It is a very interesting story and I'm sure you'll definitely like it. So continue reading it. The story begins with the narrator has beautifully elaborated about their village Hosahalli and how every authority responsible forgot to mention it in the maps. It's a very small village. So when the maps were being made by the Britishers at that point of time, since it was a very small village, so Britishers or the cartographer is a person who prepares maps, did not find it significant enough, this particular town significant enough to be actually marked on the maps. So the narrator has certain regrets against this. He doesn't like the fact that his village is not mentioned anywhere in any of the maps. He again throws light upon the significance of the village Hosahalli. He says it is just as important as Mysore is to India. Karigadabu is to the festival meal and filling is to Karigadabu. Now listen to it very carefully. Just like when we have a festival, there are a lot of meals that are prepared for a festival or for any festive occasion, or suppose if there is some sort of a marriage in the house or a ceremony. So once there are a lot of meals which are prepared, so any meal is incomplete without any sweet dish. So in South India, there is a particular dish which is known as Karigadabu. And the sweet dish is incomplete without sweet. Similarly, the poet, this particular person by Mr. Iyengar, Venkatesh Iyengar, Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, who has written this story, he believes that just as sweet is important for this particular sweet, that is, just as sugar is important for this particular sweet, Karigadabu, similarly, this particular Mysore is important for India and Hosahalli is important for Mysore. So he gives a lot of importance to his particular village. So according to him, Mysore is incomplete without his village Hosahalli, just as a sweet is incomplete without sugar. According to the narrator, everything in and around this village is remarkable. The creeper growing in the pond and its flowers are also special. After speaking highly of his village, the narrator says, if anyone wishes to see for himself, one must contact him. He will help him to reach there. Also, he feels that there is no better way to know a place than to visit it. So obviously he's right and correct here. Like if you want to actually know more in detail about a particular place, you should definitely go and visit that place. The narrator then brings about a comparison as to how things were different when not many people knew or spoke English. Neither did people send their children to big cities like Bangalore to study. Back then, only the village accountant had the courage to send his son to Bangalore. Now, who is the village accountant? The village accountant is Ranga's father. He had the courage. He was very ambitious for his son. He wanted him to learn well. So, he had sent him to Bangalore to study English. According to the author, those times were simpler and definitely better. Now the main story begins when Ranga, the accountant's son, comes back to his village, Hossahalli, after 6 months of studying English there. He had gone to Bangalore to pursue his studies, which to mention not many in the village got the opportunity. So he was the luckier one who had the opportunity to get his schooling done from a proper town rather than from a village. So people gathered around his place. The whole village gets excited to see Ranga, and thus they gather around his home only to see how he would have changed. So this shows the gullibility, the simplicity of the people out there. The people thought that this person is coming from a town, so he must be a changed person. He has studied English, so he must be a changed person. Probably his religion must have changed. He must have. This shows that they were so innocent kind of a people. So they thought they wanted to know how changed this person looked like. So they had gathered around his house to have a look at him, have a look at Ranga and see how changed he must have looked like. Everyone was so amazed to see that Ranga had not changed a bit after he left 6 months ago. An old lady even went to the extent of running her hands through his chest to check for a sacred thread called Janeu. Now Janeu is that white color thread which you must have seen all the priests, all the pandits wearing. Yes, they wear it around their shoulders. So that thread, so this Ranga was also wearing that Janeu. So she wanted to see if he is actually wearing that Janeu, and she wanted to test it. If he is wearing, then definitely he is not changed, and if he is not wearing one, then he is a totally changed person now, and probably has changed his religion, his caste, everything. Once the villagers realized that Ranga did not change, even after moving to the city, they disappeared. The narrator waited till the crowd cleared and asked Ranga about his well-being. Ranga noticed him and greeted him with full respect and homage in a traditional way. He bent low and touched his feet, thereby seeking his blessing. This shows the moral values. Now, generally we have seen that once we are greeting somebody, we generally touch their knees from behind. We do not go to the extent of touching their feet and actually seeking their blessings. So obviously, the narrator was very impressed. He blessed him that he might get married soon and then left. That afternoon, Ranga visited the author with a few oranges, which the narrator thought was quite thoughtful of him. Now, he is very impressed with Ranga that this person is somebody with high moral values, person whom, and just like somebody wishes you, okay, they are sukhi raho. So similarly, he also wants him to get married. Thinking of how nice Ranga was, the author thought it would be a great deed to have him married to a girl just as nice as him. They chatted for a while and then the narrator asked Ranga about his views on getting married. Ranga confessed that he didn't intend to marry so soon because he intended on finding the right girl. Now, what happens is Ranga was, since he was educated, so he wanted to find the right girl and get married. He was very particular that unless and until he finds the right girl who has a similar views on marriage, he should not get married to that girl. So that's why he wanted to marry the right girl who has similar views as him. Here the narrator introduces us to a new character in the story named Ratna. She is an 11-year-old girl and is Rama Rao's niece. She had lost both her parents, so her uncle brought her from the big town to his home with him. She had a great voice and could play harmonium and veena. Narrator thought that Ranga and Ratna would make a great pair. So the narrator made plans that I will definitely see to it that Ranga gets married to Ratna because he personally believed that Ratna was the right girl for Ranga. So the Ranga used to visit frequently to their place. So what happens is the narrator calls Ratna to her place and asks her to sing a song. Just as she was singing, Ranga arrived at the door and her melodious voice touched his ears, and thus he did not want to interrupt the singing, so he stood at the door. He was curious to see the singer, and very cautiously he tried to have a look which disturbed the lighting in the room. On seeing a stranger, Ratna immediately stopped her singing. Ranga was shy and looked downward, whereas Ranga stealthily glanced at her. There was an awkward silence in the room. It was love at first sight for both. Now, this was the plan that the narrator had made for them. He asked Ratna to come over to his place and fetch buttermilk. And once she had come over, she was singing that a song, and she started singing a song. And once she was singing, the narrator asked a boy to go and call Ranga. While he came in, he heard somebody singing. So he was curious to know who is this girl who is singing inside the narrator's house. So once he was curious and tried to peep in, he saw Ratna. Now Ratna, she was disturbed by the singing and she definitely saw Ranga, and she, being a shy girl, she stopped singing. But the narrator's plan was successful. Both of them, it was love at first sight. Once Ratna left, Ranga asked the narrator if Ratna was married, to which the narrator forcefully replied that she was, probably a year ago. Ranga was disappointed and disheartened. It was clearly all over his face. He went away quoting some work. The crafty narrator, having stayed certain like in the mind of Ranga for Ratna, went on to complete his plan. So he falsely told him that Ratna is already married. So now obviously Ranga is disappointed hearing that Ratna is already married. So now the narrator finished the rest of his plan. He went to the village Shastri and told him everything that had to be said and done. So he made plans beforehand that I am going to bring Ranga here. This is what you're going to tell him. So then he met Ranga that afternoon and he carried the same disappointment on his face. He suggested that they go see Shastri to check if the stars, Guru, Shani, Saturn, everybody were in his favor. Ranga went along with him. Narrator asked the Shastri to take out all his tools to help solve whatever is going on in Ranga's mind with full authority. Now this shows the craftiness, the cunningness of the narrator. He had already told Shastri that this is what you're going to say. And now he is telling him to just check his stars. What is wrong with his stars? Why is he so disappointed? The Shastri indicated that Ranga had a girl on his mind and that's why he was so disappointed. Shastri thought and replied that the girl is likely to have a name of something found in the ocean. The guesses include names like Kamal, Pachi. Obviously, you know Kamal, that is a lotus, is found in actually an ocean, something to do with ocean. Pachi, moss, pearl, moti. And then suddenly Shastri said Ratna. Ratna means Ratna. All these are found in oceans. All of it came together now to a girl named Ratna, who is the niece of Rama Rao. That's it. Ranga was thinking about her only. Ranga was both surprised and happy because Shastri's predictions were right. He was indeed thinking about Ratna, and that's why he was sad, thinking that this girl is married and he had fallen in love with her. He immediately became disappointed when he recalled that she was already married. Both Ranga and narrator left and crossed Rama Rao's door, where Shama went to see Ratna for a minute and came back. When the narrator came back, he announced that fortunately Ratna was not married and someone might have wrongly conveyed it to him about her marriage. The narrator asked Ranga if he had been thinking about Ratna and asked him to swear upon the truth. To his surprise, Ranga told him the truth and confessed that yes, he actually liked Ratna and wanted to get married to her. So that whatever Shastri said was true. Now the narrator's plan was fulfilled. Obviously, Ranga and Ratna get married and they lived happily ever after. Now the narrator takes us a few years forward where Ranga and Ratna happily married, had a 3-year-old son, and Ratna was 8 months pregnant all over again with another child. Ranga's sister had come over to help them. It was Shama's birthday. Now they already had a 3-year-old son whom they named as Shama after the narrator's name. Yes, the couple named their son after the narrator, as it was a common foreign tradition to name your child after someone you truly admired. Since both Ranga and Ratna credited the narrator for their marriage because it was his plan which ensured their marriage. So they both really respected him for it and admired him for it. So they named their son after the narrator and they called him Shama. When the narrator went to Shama's birthday for dinner, Shama came running to him only to show his love. The narrator kissed him and gave him a ring as a present. The story now ends here, with both Ranga and Ratna happily married, having a small, happy family. Narrator writes on an ending note to all the readers, hoping that they were not bored. Hope you like the story. Thank you. Happy reading. Have a nice day. Please don't forget to press the like button if you really like this video.